Dibs, which is his Poppy, which I mentioned in the last game that I casted.
Okay,
But
and
no Heimerdinger.
yeah, no Heimendinger ban, but the Poppy ban could be against Dibs, of course. We've seen Caitlyn a lot come out across the board. I think EK favors that one, so that could be.
Yeah.
And on the flip side, we've seen Vayne be very popular again in this meta where uh, there's a lot of tanks, and she of course has that Silver Bolt's true damage proc, and Grit has also put in a lot of solo queue time on Vayne, so it could be potentially targeted against him. The Galio one is interesting. I feel like it is targeted, but I'm not sure who it's against. We'll have to suss that one out. But
Gallo can be strong anyway. It's a bit of an AP heavy meta with champions, so it could just be Gallo stacks the MR and then becomes unkillable and has a lot of AP due to his passive.
we see the first pick Tresh coming in, and there's a yeah, very popular pick, especially for Blaker. We've seen him on it quite a bit. And on the other side, then Ezreal and Rengar, very interesting. It'll be great to see if that's a top lane Rengar or if he's going into the jungle.
Probably most likely a jungle. Rengar looks at the flash heal. Looks like EK's not going AD carry, which is normally what he goes for. Hence the Caitlyn ban.
Yeah,
He's very good on like Caitlyn, Kalista, and Sivir. That's most of the champions I see him playing. He's pretty good as them, although he can be a bit over aggressive and overconfident, which has costed him a few games in the past.
Do you do you think that this do you think that this could be a jungle Fizz coming in alongside a potential Draven ADC? I know it's not great to speculate while they're hovering, but the timer's getting pretty low, so looks like Fizz in the jungle. That's an interesting pick, and Draven as well is another big one from Grits. So
Oh, Draven's the guy who just seems to always get crit strikes. That Fizz can be swapped over at some point, could still be top lane or mid lane, but jungle Fizz is not out of the question. It's a decent enough pick. It's just I feel his jungle clear and his ganks can be a little bit ineffective at times. And double smite selected by Purple Dream, so
yeah,
you never know.
I was
Could see
looking.
Flash smite top.
No, I suspect that I Am Exiled is taking the Ezreal in mid, and he's taking the new Runeglaive enchantment, so he'll go smite in mid lane and be very popular with that. Essentially, a Sheen proc passive on the Runeglaive, and EK is going to take this Graves down into the bot lane, I suspect.
I mean, it could be Grace, could be a couple other AD carries, seeing as the two that were banned out weren't exactly like the most popular, like Sivir, Kalista are sort of the main picks to go to, and they're both still open. Blitzcrank getting hovered, which would make me very happy as a Blitzcrank main. Would like to see him get some love, and because Thresh is obviously already picked in, they can't counter pick the Blitzcrank with say a Thresh pick or whatnot. Not a Thresh pick, a Alistair pick. Alice is a very good counter to Blitzcrank.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw a focus on Malphite yesterday, so it'll be interesting to see if he's picked again here through. That would make him picked in 3 of 4 games so far. Uh, so we've seen him go top lane, we've seen him go jungle with varied success, but overall can still be a strong pick in this meta.
Yeah, I would like to. Well, it actually wouldn't be the worst combination if it is Yasuo and Malphite. Another good combination would be have Oriana go in as the mid laner.
Yep, and we see a hover as well on Yasuo who showed up yesterday. That wombo combo knock up between Malphite and Yasuo very strong. When you factor that in with the Tresh Flay and even the Draven stand aside, I think there's a lot of knock up there for Yasuo to use if he gets ahead, but he could have a tough time against this Ezreal in mid. We'll have to see how that plays out.
Yeah, it's going to be a very big skill matchup. I feel going to be a lot of AD. Going to be a lot of AD focus at the moment. Really, only the AP Fizz to come in for blue side if it is an AP Fizz jungle.
I think the only
Oh, and there is the Heimerdinger. So there's the AP,
yeah
and that could be. That Heimerdinger could be going anywhere. It could even be top lane Ezreal with Smite as opposed to just mid lane, but it most likely will be mid lane with top lane Heimerdinger. But there's one of Dibs's two main picks, I would say.
yeah, I'm surprised we actually saw that get all the way through picks and bans. But now that it is here, it's a very strong pick in Dibs' hands. So concern for blue team, they're going to have to make sure he doesn't get too far ahead. So that's interesting. Do you think it'll be Heimer in the top lane, Ezreal in the mid, Rengar in the jungle, Graves and Blitz down the bottom?
Yeah, it'll most likely be that order. I mean, Ezra doesn't really go anywhere else but AD carry or mid lane. Have seen used to see him as a jungle Ezreal back in season 3 a couple of times. Top lane can is like not out of the question, but I feel it will be just top lane Heimerdinger. And he's taken the teleport instead of the ignite, so it should be Heimerdinger top now against Malphite.
Yeah,
I feel blue team have the more superior team fight though, with the Malphite sort of Yasuo initiation, have the Dravenol on top of that, along with Chum the Waters, and then throw the box down just in case anyone tries to escape. But purple team have more of a pick comp as opposed to a full-on wombo combo comp. They want to sort of split push and pick people off.
yeah, you've hit the nail on the head there. And blue team's comp is also susceptible to getting picked out early game and shut down. So if this Yazoo or this Draven are set behind, then it'll be very difficult for them to be effective in the mid game team fights.
Yeah, both teams seem to be very late game focused. I'd say blue team more so, but Rengar, Graves, and Heimerdinger will do a lot of damage in the late game. Depending on how Ezreal builds, he can be big late game focus. And if Ezreal does fall behind, he will be behind in damage. That's probably why they picked up the Heimerdinger, just so it had an extra damage threat alongside the Rengar and the Graves if the Ezreal is to fall behind to Yasuo.
Yeah. Um, I think it'll also come down to the effective use of TP2, whether Malphite or Heimerdinger are able to push out a lane and come down and maybe do a gank bot or mid with that TP. It could determine how the early game goes. And like we said, with the two compositions here, either side, whichever team gets behind is going to find it really hard, because they're compositions that, on the one hand, do play really well when they're ahead, on the other hand, play quite poorly when they're behind. So the difference is even more pronounced than if it was, say, a more farming, scaling reliant composition.
Yeah, I'd say purple team out of the two have a little bit of leeway if they do fall behind because they can just decide, okay, we won't just group, we'll just split push instead, which then forces blue team to split up and they don't have their full team fight combo. So I'd say if purple team do fall behind, they are not out of it, whereas the blue team pretty much they have to rely on their team fighting as opposed to being able to pick out people. So if they fall behind, they won't be able to get their full team fight comp in and they will probably end up falling behind and losing.
It's interesting too. I guess Fizz and Yasuo could both be considered assassins slash bruisers. So you'll see a
Yeah,
lot.
I'd say yeah, Fizz is more of a bruiser.
There's not a lot of peel on red team's side. I mean, on the other side, you've got Thresh and you've got Malphite even stand aside to get people in bad positions out of trouble. But on the other side, besides Ezreal's built-in mobility, all of the and Graves' dash to an extent, the rest of the team are rather immobile. So if they're caught out of position, they can be punished quite heavily. And it also means that it's more difficult for them without any main form of engage. Blitz has the pulls, and outside of that, and on the hunt from Rengar, they have no real engage on red side. So it's going to be difficult to nail down these this Fizz and this Yasuo, and also some of the other characters with Tresh's Lantern. So a bit of an advantage there, as you say, in the composition for blue team.
Yes, that's why again, if red side do fall behind, they can just sort of fall back and split push. I don't think they're ever going to want to take a team fight unless it's a dragon or baron fight when they're in close quarters. Then they can sort of throw down a load of tower damage, get a few grenade stuns, get a 4-person true shot barrage and collateral damage and whatnot. Have Rengar be able to throw out all of his AOE. So they might want to. That'll probably be the only time they do want to take team fights is when just they have a bit of AOE to sort of support them. Even Blitzcrank's ultimate, if he builds Sightstone, then just goes full AP, he will do a lot of damage sort of later on in the game. Even if he builds just 1 or 2 AP items, he will be very effective very quickly.
Yeah, it's looking at the wave clear again, and I'm still getting some feedback. So if you wouldn't mind, would you turn down the playback volume of me in TeamSpeak and turn down your headphones? Because when I talk, it's coming out of your earphones into your microphone and back. So that's what we need to get rid of. So I'm too loud up for you.
Alright, yeah, I've turned down my playback.
Okay, cool. So still getting a little bit, but what can you do, huh?
Alright, let me lower this as well.
Okay. I think when you were trying to make me louder, you jacked up a lot of things, and in some way you introduced some
I didn't
feedback.
even try to make you louder. I just told you to turn up your microphone.
Yeah.
I didn't try to make you louder. Don't worry. Is that fine?
Okay. Uh, we'll give it a go anyway. We'll drive on. So The one thing that neither team have in spades is wave clear. I think red team have better wave clear than blue, with the Yasuo and the Draven not being great. The Fizz needs to go in close range, and Malphite has none, so it should be easier for red team to siege up and put more pressure on blue team's turrets. And if red can get a couple of turrets early and get that golden item advantage, then it'll make them a lot stronger in fights.
Yeah, I'll pause. Straight away, wouldn't be a custom games without at least one pause.
Yeah, absolutely. Which gives
Oh, Kiwi is not on speak, so he needs to get on that broski.
interface.
Ah, man. Yeah, the wave clear is going to be. I think the thing that again is going to help red side with their split push is that it's no point having a split push comp if you can't wave clear effectively to get to a tower and then push it down.
Yeah, exactly.
So depending on what Ezreal builds here, one like underrated item on Ezreal is Iceborne Gauntlet. I thought it gives a little bit of wave clear with its AoE sort of proc that it gets. It's also good for kiting and good for outplaying in 1v1 if someone does try to chase him down when he's split pushing. So go like Blade the Rune King and Iceborne Gauntlet and go a bit of a blue Ezreal build as opposed to just full on AD or AP depending on what Ezreal is going to be going for here in this game.
Yeah, I think he absolutely has to go for the blue build because if he doesn't, he's never really going to scale. He'll get a bit more power in the early and mid game, but then in the late game, he won't have anything to bring to these fights, especially up against what will presumably be quite a tanky Cinderhulk Fizz and also a very tanky Malphite. So it'll be tough for him to do real work, you know.
Yeah, well, he has gotten the bronze ring, so it looks to be an AP Ezreal, maybe full and through or through and through, which would mean you'd have probably full AD Rengar with maybe a Randuin's Omen. Oh no, wait, he's sold the Doran's ring.
Yeah,
Got
and
the okay, no, he's got the Doran's, so that's just made my statement completely irrelevant for now. Oh no, he sold it again. Another Doran's ring.
yep, and he's remembered that he's going blue in this case.
But
So
doesn't I mean Blue Ezra was more like AD and AP, whereas like full AP Ezra was like Death Cap, Void Staff, Zhonya's, all that stuff. He's probably going to go like Iceborne, Triforce, Blade the Rune King, Muramana, cooldown boots, and
yeah,
like a GA or a Last Whisper.
if you look across the board, we've got Rengar and Graves are the only other real damage threats. Well, and Dibs, but
Early game.
yeah, early game, most of the damage is physical, so he needs to bring a
Yeah.
little bit of magic to mix that up and make sure that they can't itemize red team out of the game.
Again, it really depends on what this Fizz does actually end up going. Like, obviously, Malphite is probably gonna. Malphite's gonna go. I'm gonna say he's gonna build maybe like one or two AP items, maybe like a Rod of Ages and a Abyssal Scepter, but for the most part, he's going to go full tank. Whereas Fizz is probably going to go sort of Bruiser, like Triforce and whatnot. Maybe
I,
we'll Cinderhulk, etc.
I definitely
There's
expect
only real two big threats on blue side.
I definitely expect to see some early magic resist coming out of Malphite to be able to stay in the lane um, with this Dibs on the Heimerdinger. It's going to be a big struggle for him to sustain through that. So it may delay some of the more typical items like Catalyst and Rod of the Ages or even Righteous Glory. But we'll have to see what he does. He may go for Abyssal or something else like this to get a bit of magic resist and a bit of lane power as well.
Yeah, Abyssal's also good for Malphite. There's a little bit of a trade in the mid lane there as we're getting stuck up. But yeah, I feel the Abyssal Scepter on Malphite is really good because you see its AoE passive is reducing the enemy's magic resist, and obviously he wants to dive into the middle of the team. There's a little bit of action in the pot lane trading going on across the map at the moment, so pretty much all out aggression. Rengar either setting up for just getting Scuttle Crab or might be going for an early gank in the mid or even an invade.
Yeah, he's at about half health now, so it'll be tough for him to do a counter jungle. He's just going to look to get a ward down, establish the position of Azardel
Yeah.
on the Fizz. They found each other.
Yeah, he's actually going to jump on the Scuttle Crab there, and I believe it went over to Fizz there, but it is going to be a little bit traded on the Scuttle Crab. Actually, no, Rengar was the one to pick up red buff on both of them. The Thresh have to come out, and it is going to be first blood going over to Thresh. After that's what outplayed over the Blitz hook does land onto Draven, knocks him up, but not much else going to come out of it, and that was a good 1-0 trade for blue side.
Yeah, absolutely. It was the Scuttle Crab health regen that went to Rengar and allowed him to sustain through a little bit more in the fight, but a beautiful death sentence from Thresh there to shut him down early and make it harder and harder for red team.
Yeah, and another Blitz, another Thresh going to land. Not going to get anything there though. I had to take a drink and
Yeah,
miss the initial hook there.
Blake.
Rengar already upgraded. Well, both junglers have already upgraded their jungle items, but Fizz does have a pink one and some potions.
Yeah, it's interesting to see Rengar's gone for the Rangers to help him clear a little bit better, whereas Fizz has the challenging smite, so he's got that damage increase and damage reduction on a single target for 4 seconds. So better dueling power out of the Fizz means he should have more of an effect in the game in the first few minutes.
Yeah, I think Rengar probably wants to just after that bad sort of early invade, or not even it wasn't even an invade, but it was a bad early game. He probably thinks, okay, I just want to wave clear to level 6 and then try and gank my lanes when I'm a bit more powerful. Whereas Fizz now knows he can just gank effectively and even just invade if he wants to because he can 1v1 Rengar a bit more successfully.
We're already seeing a bit of a CS difference open up on top. We're a wave and a half between now Dibs and Epic Sex on that Malphite, so it's going to be hard for him to farm through all of this. And as he falls behind on experience and gold, that difficulty is going to increase. I think Heimerdinger scales a bit better in this matchup, even though he may be considered weak early against a Malphite who doesn't really have a mechanism to punish him. It's going to be an easy lane.
Yeah, again, it's just a case of, again, Fizz maybe ganking, maybe Unstoppable Force into Chum the Waters that should take Dibs down. Because if Heimerdinger does fall behind, it's going to take him a while to scale up. But again, he's up against Malphite, who's just melee, doesn't do a whole lot of damage, doesn't have any wave clear. So Heimerdinger can just sort of safely farm until, it's time to sort of go try and roam. But Malphite will have the TP roam advantage because his TP ganks are a little bit more effective than a Heimerdinger's.
Yeah, in the bot lane we see they're going quite even on the farm. Blaker's been very good. He's of course got the first blood, which will probably mean an early sightstone. Um, and you've seen Draven can be a bully if he's given a bit of an advantage. And here he's pushing EK and the red team back into their own turret and making it harder for them to farm. But Rengar's nearby, and you may see a gank here to relieve some of that pressure.
Yeah, it looks like he's actually looks like he's going up. He's gonna back, get some more items. Dibs doing a lot of damage here. Actually, use the rockets onto Epic Sex, but not enough damage to take him down. So that's an ulti burn for Dibsidinger that didn't really get anything back. Epic Sex can just heal all of that up. Still has one health potion and is using his flask charge at the moment.
Yeah, in the bot lane matchup, I think it's an interesting one. We've seen Blaker playing Thresh and Blitz recently, and his hook accuracy is really quite good. He seems able to pick off characters with poor positioning and pull them into the fight, especially on the Blitz yesterday.
Nice, a nice fresh hook there onto EK. It's going to flame, and not much is going to come back from it. Grit is going to get knocked up. It's still going to catch the axe anyway. And good hook there, but also good response by Blitzcrank to knock up the Draven just so he can go in for the damage on EK.
Yeah, as long as Grit on this Draven is allowed to farm up those stacks and eventually convert them into a kill, then he's perfectly happy to be going slightly ahead or even in this lane.
And the mid lane, not really got much attention. This looks to be Yasuo just shoving the lane. Ezreal gone back, has a Sheen, which can go into a couple of items. Could be Iceborne, could be Triforce. And actually, the last breath going to go in onto Ezreal here. He's going to just Arcane Shift into the wall there. So it's another ultimate sort of burn to not really get anything back. Let's say Ezreal's a half health, but Ezreal does have some cookies to just sort of heal up there. So I feel it's just an ultimate really just burnt for no reason out of Wolf there.
Yeah, I think Wolf being manaless and having the lane pressure is just happy to keep more and more pressure down on Ezreal. But Ezreal's now sitting on a Sheen, presumably on the way to Runeglaive, and he's at a mini damage spike, so he's perfectly happy. And he's actually a little bit ahead in CS, even though there's all this pressure from Wolfie. So this Ezreal is ready to scale up nicely.
Yeah, he does have Smite, but he didn't start with Machete or even go back to start building up a item to use Smite with. So
yeah,
Ezreal's Smite hasn't come into effect really just yet, besides a little bit of minion.
well,
We'll pick up the blue buff here as Yasuo should. He hasn't already. No, Fizz got the ultimate. Two-shot barrage actually came in there onto Wolf. The wall gonna come down. It is Exotic gonna try and go in hard for it. I believe that was the key, just missing on the side. So Wolfie should be able to live through this one.
Yeah, but no, the Yasuo's is resourceless, so it's likely that Fizz is taking that blue for himself. And with the change to the Runeglaive jungle enchantment recipe, it's now built off a Sheen. So Ezreal's building towards that jungle.
Okay.
jungle items, so the next pickup will probably be either be a challenging smite or a chilling smite to give him combat
Nice.
stats.
I'll say King Shift there, but the last breath is going to come in here. The crown going to come down there. This is actually going to try and tower dive here. The red buff is onto Ezreal. Ezreal's going to come in. Wolf's going to pick up that kill, but he is going to go down for it. So there's a 1-for-1 trade in the mid lane. It was a good roam by Fresh, but it was a good arcane shift to make sure he didn't get hooked by the lantern, but the Flace still landed.
Yeah.
And whilst he's in the bottom lane, Grit is actually going to get hooked. He's going to get knocked off and exhausted. It should be a dead Draven. It actually flashed away from the lantern, so he's not going to be able to get to safety. Looks like Blake is just going to take the fall here. The Draven ultimate is going to come out here. A good flash, and actually blue side bot lane are going to get away in the end, despite a bit of a poor flash from Draven not taking that lantern.
Yeah, a bit of miscommunication there, but overall well played by Red to break up the focus, or by Blue to break up the focus of that Graves and that Blitz, and able to turn
And the
around.
Freshrick's going to land it onto Blitzcrank, going to get flayed into the box. This is surely going to be Blitzcrank going down here, but no, Grit is actually going to get knocked back. It's surely going to have to go away. No, Rengar going to come in from the backside there. He's going to pick up the Draven, and the Flay's coming in. It's not going to be enough, and EK picks up a kill for himself. It's now a 2-0 in the bot lane.
Yeah, Blaker actually flayed Rengar out of the turret rather than into it as he would have liked to, so a little bit of a misplay, but he was still dead anyway. And well played by Red to get that gank. A little bit of an overstay by Blue after they initially got away. Blew their flashes, they had no business staying in the lane.
Yeah, and EK is, not EK, Dibs is going to pick up the top side tower. Does have a needlessly large rod, whereas Malphite's going to go for a straight Iceborne Gauntlet by the looks of it, Glacial Shroud, and the Sheen coming in. There's the part jungle item coming in for Ezreal. And the Ebola is going to land onto Wolf, but not much is going to come out of it. And Kiwi might regret that decision as he is. He's going to go down to Wolf. A good roam there by Epic Sex to pick up Wolf, another kill in the mid lane.
It's interesting to see that a Ranger's jungle upgrade is built onto Ezreal as well. You'd expect him to, if he's taking a smite for combat stats, to take a combat jungle upgrade, but maybe he'll switch it out for the 200 gold cost before he does the final combine. But either way, an interesting pick for him. But right now, 3 kills apiece. The gold is slightly up on Red's side. It just looks like the 1 turret advantage they have, giving them about a 1k gold lead. The farm is still a little bit of an advantage for Dibs in the top lane, but across the rest of the board it's really quite even. So these teams, at least for the first 10 minutes, are happy to farm it out and do a few roams and catch picks were available, but most of the focus has been on getting their scaling going.
Yeah, the most gold rule separations, really the 2 AD carries, with Graves being about 500 gold ahead of Draven at the moment. Wolfie is getting a 2v1 at the moment. A tornado going to come. I'm not going to land anything. There should be the mid lane tower for Red side. It actually will not enough minions. So, and the hook actually just missing there from Blitzcrank. Could have hooked Grit into the tower.
Yep.
Wolf is on top of a ward there actually.
And another turret going down for Red, so with the superior wave clear and pushing power, finally able to convert that into towers and a now 2k gold advantage.
Yeah, so nice hook down to Blaker. Blaker's going to flay them back, but he is getting absolutely chunked down. Should be able to get away with the hook. No, he will not. The, I'm trying to remember the name of it.
Collateral damage.
It's not collateral damage going to come down. Grit's going to take down the kill, but Kiwi's going to pick up a kill in return. It's a 2-for-1 trade in the bot lane. EK, importantly, him and Graves were the ones to pick up those kills.
Yeah, EK did eventually go down to the upfront damage of Graves, but and I believe he was able to get a cash in of a certain amount, if not all of his tokens. But yeah, definitely overall good for Red, getting a 2-for-1 and now putting pressure on the turret, even with Fizz down here. Looks like
yes, Fizz is getting burst down, and Kiwi is going to pick up the kill credit there. He's going to give Dibs all the work, bursting him down. And TP going to come out, Dibs going to save his tower. At least he should be able to save the tower, and the pink one's going to get swept. So now Red side's starting to assert some dominance here.
Absolutely. Three turrets to 0, 6 kills to 4, and 3k gold advantage. Dibs even able to TP up there and deny anything from Epic Sex. So across the board, aside from the kills, it's a perfect game for Red so far.
Yeah, Rune Glaive coming out for Ezreal for his jungle item. With still the Warrior Saber for Rengar, I believe. Is it fully upgraded? I believe it is. I'm not sure. He still has the 2 longswords, but I don't think he's backed in a while.
No, you're right.
1.5k gold.
He has his warrior upgrade, and we've seen the.
Okay.
I believe it's a Cinder Hulk over on Fizz. Yes, it is.
Yes, it is in the whole concept is. And Ice Form was actually picked up onto Malphite. So he's going to have a little bit of CC and a bit of Sheen Proc. Ezra's actually going to get flayed back. The last breath going to come in. A nice hook there on from Blitzcrank there, but the Chumble Wars is going to pick up Ezra in the end. And now Blitzcrank forced to run away along with EK. He's going to go over the wall there. So a good pick up there onto Ezra, who's just a little bit too far forward.
Well played and a good collapse. Although Red did have some vision, it was mostly lacking in those
So
approaches.
nice hook there onto Wolf. The Tornado going to come up the Ebola as well. Dibs going to pick up that kill. Really good hook that just looks to be stopping the pressure. The hook onto Blitzcrank. Good disengage, but that was a good job there by Reta to stop them pushing on the tower.
Exactly. Apheus, Alpheus decides if you're going to hook, I'm going to hook too, and he pulls him right back in and equalizes. Now they've got an advantage. They're able to push down onto mid inner turret and maybe be able to even add another 1,000 gold to their advantage.
Now the Assault Force going to come in. It's going to hit two people here. The Smiles are going to come down. EK is getting chunked down. Brit is going to pick up that kill. It's going to come in. It's going to be a double kill going over to Draven though. And not enough damage to kill off Malphite or Fizz. Draven going in pretty hard there. So another 2 for nothing trade from Red Side. But they're going to jump in again. Kiwi is getting CC the heck. He's going to get taken out. Unofficial triple kill over to Draven now. And this surely should be the mid lane tower for Blue side.
That's an absolute nightmare. It's a total disaster for Red Team. They didn't have the wards to put the pressure on that turret. They didn't respect the Draven. And putting a triple kill onto a Draven 15 minutes into the game, it's a really terrible idea. And it's going to come back to bite them soon. Interesting.
Oh.
Yeah,
Bishop did hit just not enough damage onto Ezra here. Only has Amplifying Tome on top of his jungle item. He really needs to start scaling up. He is 1 and 2, and is even a teeny bit ahead in farm and also global gold. It's still not going to fully be enough at the moment.
yeah, the Rune Glaive doesn't give him much in terms of raw combat stats as you normally see, so it's taken them a while. But Red Team have an opportunity here to position for Drake and take it while Blue were forced back after their aggression. But neither team 15 minutes in really seems concerned.
The damage coming out of Dibs, and he's going to take down Epic Sex in the end. So now it looks like Malphite should try and opt into some magic resist because he's just getting exploded now. With only that Ice Cream Gauntlet that gives mana combat when you got the 2 solo lanes being AP damage dealers.
Red Team moving into Drake now while Exiled is just positioning in mid to keep them off it. Blue Team moving through, but they are spotted and Drake will go down in the end to the smite from Kiwi. But yeah, a good read of the position of Blue there and able to take the Drake uncontested. And 60 minutes into the game, the kills have evened up a little bit, 8-8. It's 1 Drake to 0, 3 turrets to 0 in favor of Red, and at this stage they're still sitting on about a 2.5k gold advantage. And with the farming power and the double smite, that's only going to increase, so they're still on track to take control of the game. They just have to start working on that ring of inner turrets now.
Yeah, and one key thing was Malphite did have TP, so the kill onto Malphite was a bit more important than just a flashy solo kill. To stop Malphite from TPing and it may be unstoppable for stealing the dragon. Kiwi getting jumped in on, not Kiwi getting jumped in on, but he's actually getting traded back while in the top lane. Epic is getting busted down a little bit. Rengar, the ultimate does miss out of Grit, and they are going to try and turn it around. The shutdown going onto the Draven there, and the Ebola is going to land onto Blake, and Blake is going to go down for a double kill, going over to Rengar. Nice little juke from Kiwi to pick up a double for himself.
That's the second time we've seen this Rengar go solo against the Draven. Well, the first time it was 1v3, but he doesn't have the damage to 100 to 0 right away. And in the mid lane...
the last breath going to come out to Ezra. Ezra's going to Arcane Shield, but it's not going to be enough. Wolf going to pick up a kill for himself now, making it 3-2 for Yasuo, and 1 and 3 for Ezra, who has only now just upgraded his Amplifying Tome item into an Aether Wish that could be going into either a Lich Bane or a Luden's Echo.
Yeah, exactly. You may see a Lich Bane come in for that extra pushing power and split push power, but really Ezreal with his tier 2 boots and his arcane shift, he should have enough mobility to predict and dodge those pretty telegraphed. Oh, look at that.
The Self Force coming onto Dibs, so he's going to get hooked as well. Epic is going to flash away. The rockets do miss, and Dibs is going to go down to Fizz. Good flash there by Epic just to avoiding a 1-for-1 trade. It is going to be a 1-for-0, and Fizz picking up his second kill of the game.
Even when that Heimerdinger went down, he managed to tie up 3 members in top lane, and he got 2 of them down so low they have to recall. So it was a kill for Blue Team, and congratulations, but they lost a lot of map pressure elsewhere with bottom and mid now pushed in, and good positioning and wards by Red. So yeah, they're still pushing their advantage. This Ezreal build, you see, it's a utility build. It's almost like he's built an Aber's Blade with that Rangers, where he's saying, "I'm going to do more farms, so I scale into other items better," and he gets to his
Yeah.
late game faster. Uh, I think if a red team can just keep their focus on shutting down this Draven and Yasuo, then the fights will get a lot easier for them. So maybe some picks on these guys.
Yeah, I mean, Ezreal's true shot barrages are doing a fair bit of damage, and you've got the Rengar who's 5-3. Graves, has Infinity Edges building into what should soon be a Zeus. Dibs is going to catch out Epic 6 again. The Grenade going to come in. He's going to miss the Rockets here. There's a bit of a brutal fight going on here, but the Rockets are going to be too much, and Dibs is going to pick up that kill. Flash there from EK's Grit, and
Yeah,
Blake are going to try and close in onto EK, but EK is just a bit too sneaky.
yeah, he's managed to keep his flash for a special occasion. In the top lane, it was interesting because Dibs died at the top inner turret, and nobody from Red responded to that threat. And uh, Epic was allowed to push the lane all the way to their top outer and able to take it without any response. So a little bit sloppy from the rest of Red, but here's an engage.
Yeah, Kiwi sitting in a bush there. The box shot going to come up. The box is going to come, and Grit is just going to get bursted down by Kiwi. Just jumped across. Rengar picking up another double kill. Kiwi focusing straight onto the AD carry while Fresh was busy trying to pick up EK and put the box down. There's not a lot of vision from blue side, but there is a TP actually coming down from Malphite at the moment.
Into a
Nice
bola.
Ebola just
Yeah.
to stop Epic Sex in his place, but it's not over yet. Another Ebola slow hit. Alpheus is going to come in. It's going to knock up Epic Sex, but EK wants to be careful. Does have his flash up, I believe. No, he doesn't, but he does have his heal. The Assault Force is going to come up, but he does pull off the heal there. It's going to go down in the end. Epic Sex should be fine for the moment. Does get knocked up again.
That's
It's a bit too tanky at the moment. No, Kiwi is going to jump down onto it, but Kiwi now the one being the one to get burst down. Shutdown going over to Yasuo here, but the last breath to come in, but a nice pull there by Blitzcrank, but Wolf is going to go down to Dibsidinger in the end, so it's a 1-for-1, that's a 2-for-1, so far in favor of blue side. Fizz now trying to come and might get stopped by the Rockets, and Blitzcrank looks to be running to safety, so a good fight for blue side, but nothing else looks to be gained from it, like a tower or maybe a dragon that's up in about a minute 24.
We saw Kiwi get baited by Epic Sex, who lived through the whole fight, but in the end, it turns out that Wolfie got a little bit baited himself, and as he engaged onto Dibs initially, he dashed over the rockets, and then Dibs didn't have an ult, but with the Blitzcrank, Dibs was able to reposition his turrets and get a crossfire down onto Wolfie, which sent him down in the end. Oh,
Epic Sex might have overstayed his welcome a little bit, is getting hit up a little bit. Didn't get enough damage. Oh, the bouncing grenade gonna take down Epic. Epic Sex finally getting paid for just sitting around for too long. Two-shot bar's gonna come on. Not gonna be enough. A nice play there onto Alphys. Alphys gonna pull in Draven. There should not be enough damage to take him down. Ezreal actually there, the ultimate to come out of Grit, and Grit picking up a kill in the meantime. Yomu's Blade gonna be popped. Kiwi's gonna pick up a retribution on a 2-for-1 trade now in favor of red side.
yeah, and we're starting to see a bit of an item disparity coming across, where this Draven with those cashed-in stacks is over 1,000 gold ahead of Graves. He's completed his static shiv and is... Oh, there's a nice hook by
That's
Blake.
a nice hook there, and another last rock going into Dibsidinger, but Dibsidinger is going to pop the Zonyas. Other rocket's going to be a little bit too much here. EK coming in from the backside. Blake is going to go down to Dibsidinger. Wolf is forced to turn tail. Kiwi going to jump on top of him. That's another 2-for-0 trade this time for red side.
Drake is just up. It's perfect timing for red team. I think we're going to see Kiwi attempt to solo that or do it with one other while EK pushes in the lane. So great skirmishing from red, able to recognize when blue are weak and take advantage of it. Overall, blue not really getting to use that Malphite into Yasuo combo that they wanted. So the effectiveness of this kind of one-trick pony wombo combo team isn't as strong. Although Draven, as we said, is getting really fed. And Yasuo, just despite some misplays there, he is sitting on a static shiv, components of an IE and a cutlass, so he hasn't completed either his IE or Blade of the Rune King, but he's going to come online very soon and be troublesome for red to deal with.
Yeah, and he's also now formulating into a Hector because he's building just a mishmash of what looks like half items as opposed to going for full items. It is a Luden Zeka to come out of Ezreal, who, he is a little bit ahead in front, but those, lack of kills are starting to show. Has another amplifying toe. Not sure what that might build into. Could be a nice one gauntlet, as we've already got one actually now onto Blitzcrank for a little bit of extra CC. Void Staff was actually picked up for Heimerdinger as well, along with some cooldown boots, and Rengar looks to try and start finishing up his Ravenous Hydra, or might just go straight into Last Whisperer.
Yeah, we've seen the Yomu on Rengar. That's great. We've seen the Tiamat as well, so he's quite strong now. And also the Phantom Dancer came through onto Graves, so he's not so worried about wave clear. In this team, he's able to go for more single target damage.
Yeah, Q landing onto Ezreal there. Bit of a slow, but nothing else going to come down there. Epic Saves actually is going to get hooked on the Ice Cream Gauntlet Clock. Not going to do much. It's only a one-man unstoppable force there. The Sonya's going to be popped out of Dibs thing. And Grit is going to get soloed out on the backside there. Wolfie, a double kill actually going over to Rengar. Grit going to pick up, no, it was Yasuo picking up a kill actually with Harmony and getting the Retribution kill back. Kiwi Kid looking to try and jump onto Fizz here. The Lantern away, but whilst this is all happening, EK is trying to split push to the top lane and try and get that tower down.
Meanwhile, in top lane, EK is like, you guys fight if you want. I'm going to take this turret. There's no Drake on the board. Blue could look to push bottom outer, but maybe they feel like they're too low. But in all of these fights, Red are taking all of the objectives. Now they push onto top inhibitor and start to do damage.
Yeah, the tower might not go down. Yeah, they're going to have to back away. Going to respect Blake, who has been hitting. Even if he's not hitting the hooks, he's landing the plays that proc the last breath. A bit of damage actually going down there onto Fizz. Not going to be enough though to really scratch him. He is building very tank based, not really a lot of damages. Opting into what it could either be a Banshees or he could just go for a Spirit Visage for a bit of cooldown reduction and other elements.
Ezreal actually.
EK trading a little bit there, but not. Again, nothing really else coming out of it. Rando and Zoma actually picked up Epic Sect, respecting the high AD damage that is coming out at the moment from Rengar, who has now just finished Last Whisper, so now that Rando and Zoma may not matter as much.
Yeah, we saw that Exiled was able to smite the blue buff and not just take the passive regen from the overall buff, but get that chunk of his missing mana back, so it makes him quite combat effective to be able to do that. And we see red team systematically denying all of the jungle and lane resources to blue team and strangle them out. The goal lead is up around 8k now, so it's getting quite pronounced. 2 turrets to 0.
Yeah, and the Yoma goes to actually get top quite early. Kiwi is going to get soloed out here by Grit, not enough damage. The TP also going to come in from Malphite. Alphys is a little bit too far forward. Also, of course, is going to come out. The mana barrier might be enough to save his Hydra, but Kiwi could just a little bit too zealous, I guess. Epic is getting stunned up. He is getting punctured down with those rockets. Not going to be enough. The Lantern is going to pull him to safety. A good pick up there. A little bit of overconfidence from Kiwi.
Meanwhile, in bot lane, EK is putting pressure onto the opposite side inhibitor turret. Exile's pushing down the top lane. There's so much pressure here. Even if they do get the kills, it's hard for blue to do anything.
Yeah, EK doesn't have any lights at the moment besides the Doran's Blade, but it still could actually get away. Does have flash and heal if need be. May want to start thinking of backing up here. Ezreal's going to split push the top lane while it's still happening. Going to try and get that, at least the tower down. Actually, he uses True Shot Barrage on what looks to be only just one small wave. The Alphys is going to get caught out. It is going to flash away, so Brit not picking up that kill. Almost Arcane shifted into the Tornado there. He's going to Arcane shift again. It should be a dead Ezreal unless he can Arcane shift again. He will get away.
Wolfie was able to predict where the Ezreal would go, but not exactly when. So he sent up the prediction shot, and Exiled was able to delay and then get to safety.
EK actually going to dive in. Does have the red buff on him. He's going to take down Grit there, but is going to go down in the end. Is going to go down to Fizz. So another 1-for-1 trade here. And a straight Lost Whisper is picked up for Graves along with a longsword.
Yeah, and actually worth for the Graves too, because he draws a lot of people to bot lane and he also removes those stacks from Draven, so more than worth the kill there. As long as they can keep the Draven down, the rest of red team will be able to do enough damage to take this game home. And really now I think we are talking, looking at a pick into Baron or a pick into Drake 3, and then start to take team fights and siege for inhibitors. The game is drawing to a close unless blue can do something really dramatic to turn it around. Death timers are still pretty short, so... Oh, Wolfie caught.
Kiwi's going to drop it onto Wolfie. Wolfie's surely going to go down. The last whiff going to come out a nice hit from the bush there, and that is going to be Kiwi picking up his 12th kill of the game. And Ezreal at the moment, he's sitting on 2.5k gold, so he could really just back and just get any item he wants. Amplifying terms, he has got a little bit of choice there to upgrade it into various things.
Yeah, we also...
Him and Blitz going maybe a little bit too far forward and may want to back off.
Dibs is sitting on 1k, Kiwi's sitting on 1.2k, so they all need to back, but they don't want to give up the pressure that they've got at the moment, so being a little bit greedy.
Yeah, the Blitzer is going to land it onto Fizz. Fizz is going to try and play for 6 hours. Is going to flash away from the Lantern again, exhaust down onto him. Is going to get hit by the slow part of the grenade, and once another lantern just being flashed away, EK is going to use the cloud damage. It's not going to be enough. Is just about living there.
Third Drake is on the
So
menu, and Kiwi says thank you very much. He's going to be able to take that solo. The rest of Red Team could actually position and get wards on Baron, take that, and break this final line of turrets that's holding him out of Blue Team space.
yeah, I mean, at the moment they just barely don't have enough damage, and they sometimes get caught on. Just like at the moment, EK is getting caught. Is gonna solo down Wolfido. Maybe he's gonna
Two.
solo down Great. He will. Two versus nearly three there. Epic Sex just a little bit late to the fight, but a double kill goes over to Graves. With a trade back kill, I believe that went over to Draven. So
Yeah,
Graves starting to prove his worth. 5-5 does have that advanced set, but probably going into a bloodthirster.
it's curious because EK, there's not a lot of armor yet on the blue team. There's a Randuin's completed and of course the IBG on Malphite, but other than that and a couple of cloth armors, not much. If he'd gone for Bloodthirster, he may have been able to sustain through that fight, but either way, very close and well played to pull a 2-for-1 out of that gank there. And again, draw a lot of blue resources up and put pressure elsewhere on the map. Look at bot lane, without any attention, it's pushing into the inhib.
Yeah, and you do have as we're picking up Newly's Large Rod and the Blasting one, so we'll be going for a Death Cap. So confirm just full AP Ezreal, because most of his abilities, even though they do partly scale off AD, like most of his abilities do have more flat AP than they do flat AD scaling. And yeah, I mean, even though Ezreal's score doesn't reflect, he has been pushing rather well. You know, he's been farming up. Nearly has 100 farm, about 80 farm ahead of his mid lane adversary, who is 5-7 and 3. Has been doing okay for himself. Will almost have max, pretty much max crit, around 90%, I believe, at this point.
Yeah. What we're seeing now too is because of the sustained pressure on blue team. Oh, Exile's
Oh,
got
as we're getting bursted down there, the true drop work not going to be enough. Not really going to tickle anyone there. Epix is going to jump in as well. If the thing is going to come in with the ultimate, ultimate rocket. The Iceborne, the Yomu is ghostly going to come out here. Divzading and Kiwi both picking up kills there. The Silver Force actually did come out a long range hook going down there, but the Playful Creature will just be enough. And yeah, it was a good Silver Force to try and get out of the fight there. It even knocked up Divzadinger, but still wasn't enough.
Yeah.
To escape fully. Good trade there, 2-for-1, I believe.
So Red Team, by virtue of their 9k gold advantage, were able to turn a pick into a 2-for-1. And what we're seeing as well, because of the sustained pressure from Red, all of the wards that Blue have on the map are dying, and their cone of vision is slowly shrinking. So now Red Team could take a 2 or 3 man Baron without any contestation from Blue. And that's perhaps what they should do, because at the moment they seem to be having trouble actually cracking that ring of inhibitor turrets that have been on them for the last 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah, they just keep like one of their damage heals will just get accidentally caught out by just something really silly, and then they just forced to back away because they just have a teeny, like a little bit less damage. EK is off to the side there. Is going to get flashed in there by Grit. Is getting chunked down at the moment. The ultimate is going to come across. Not going to do anything. Not going to pick him up. Divzing also getting burst down really well. Epic is going to flash over the wall there, but here comes the Blitzcrank going to come in. Is going to knock up Epic 6. The Zonya is now to come out of Divzing. It's probably still going to go down there. Is going to go down. So another chance where Red Side just gets caught out pushing down a tower.
Yeah, and it was EK splitting to the left and drawing a lot of resources there that split up Red Team and broke up their fighting power. So, but again, even though they got the kill and 1-for-0 for Blue Team, what can they do with it? They're looking towards Drake, but it's not even on its timer yet. So, Ezreal quickly checks the Baron. I'm not sure.
He might have thought they might go for a Baron Rush, or just wanted to use True Shot Barrage. Maybe shot it in the wrong way, wanted to throw it at Dragon.
Because Red's vision has moved right up the map, so it's hard for them to see what's actually going on in that side of the jungle.
Yeah, and I mean, at this stage of the game, even one Dragon for Blue would actually mean a lot. Oh, the Fnatic Brusher Death Blaker is going to get taken down there by EK. Even with the ward down, that should be and Blaker Senpai has just said, you know what, you don't Fnatic Brush me and get away with it. I'm going to go AFK. So I'm not sure if that's going to be a pause or he's literally just rage quit. I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, it's difficult to tell. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt and say that he disconnected. We'll see if a pause comes true, but maybe Blue Team feel like that even with Blaker, it would have been difficult to keep it going, so they're just eager to get through this game and onto the next one. In the top lane, the double...
Yeah, they are going to dive in onto Epic Sex. Epic Sex is very tanky at the moment. Has all around armor items.
Yeah. Just
And should be, oh,
ooh,
the flash away. The trick shot barrage going to come in. Is that going to be, if no, Epic Six is just about going to live. No, the flash comes in from Ezreal, is going to pick up their kill in the end. And that's what happens when you don't build MR, folks.
yeah.
Draven are going to come down in. My monitor's going to shut off for whatever reason, so I'm going to
Yeah.
just plug this back in here. Going to be looking at a black
It's
screen for a little
insane.
bit.
It's
Oh, there
insane
you
that
go.
a Malphite would go this far through the game with laning against the Heimerdinger without building any MO whatsoever. You know,
Now,
even the
Wolfie getting shunned down there isn't going to
yeah.
pay for it, but it's very low. Machine Iceborne Gauntlet procs from Blitzcrank means he'll just push down, he'll try his best to push down mid lane while Draven just does that. And while this is all happening, EK is going to pick up Wolfie, but Heimerdinger is just pushing in the bot lane. Ezreal getting rather low. The inhibitor will go down, and Fizz will also go down to this. EK is jumping in onto Grit here. Grit is going to go down as well. It's a triple kill going over to Grace. Whilst, oh, it's a nice two-man ultimate. A double kill going over to Malphite. Blake has reconnected. But while this is happening, this thing is just destroying the Nexus towers. It's probably going to go down now.
What we saw.
Nice one on. Oh, no, there's that lack of magic resist that has already put Epic 6 down to half HP.
What we saw in that last fight, right before Ezreal nearly went down the first time, he used the Ranger Smite on the minions to get that 15% HP back.
Oh, Yoma's getting pulled. Blake's going to get blown up where he stands. So is
Kiwi.
Epic 6 surely going to go down. Random and Zoman is going to be a bit too much there for Kiwi.
Alpheus says, screw this double AD carry team, I'm going to take the turrets myself, and he eventually takes mid inhibitor turret down. Top inhibitor itself is almost dead. The Winion's doing work. Dips is caught.
Oh, last breath going to go down to Diverding here. Diverding is probably going to go down. He knows actually going to build the Zonyas. Is it going to be enough tower damage? It is not.
It is.
One more. Yes, it will. Nice night there from Diverding.
Never underestimate the Heimerdinger, right?
Yeah, and I mean, Blitzcrank pushing in the mid was purely just, I have Sheen proc and I have, the AD sort of, E scaling, so I may as well just, double destroy this tower, and that's basically what he did. Another two-shot barrage coming out, just going to continuously push. Wow, there's a lot of damage, and out of here comes Kiwi once again. Smite going to come down. It is going to be a one-to-one trade. Chummy is wasted. EK now going to be jumping in, trying to take down Epic Six here, and the surrender is actually going to come from blue side.
Yeah, of course. We did see Blaker come back into it, so it wasn't so much a rage kit, potentially a DC, but in the end, a very strong performance by Red. I'm going to say that they had much better wave clear. The low wave clear composition from Blue really meant they couldn't defend their objectives. Red was able to systematically take lines of turrets out, eke an early gold advantage, and with those items and experience, they were able to push home and eventually take out most of the base. Great performance for them all there. I'd say Kiwi in particular, 15-6 on this Rengar was a really standout performance. EK is always solid as well, and his aggression is always fun to watch in the bot lane. And then on the flip side, we should probably give an honorable mention to this Draven as well. While he didn't win, he did actually have some nice multi-kills in there. So well played by both teams, but in the end...
A nice Seeker's arm guard as well onto Draven, which is what you need. This is why you need a Zon. This is why we need a Zonyas. I mean, shout out to Blaker, who was hitting, even if he wasn't hitting hooks, he was still landing like two-man flays for like two-man last breaths. Even though kills don't normally reflect an MVP status, just the pressure Rengar was putting on, and he would just always kill people, just meaning it would just relieve pressure off red side if they would slightly fall behind or have a bad sort of team fight under tower. So Rengar definitely falling over for like going out of there for that one. Should expect the Heimerdinger ban, maybe even a Rengar ban to come out along with the Poppy against Dibzadinger and Kiwi if they're on the same team, which at the moment it looks like they are. They can still swap this around. Alpheus has moved over to that side. Wolfie's still on the same side with Epic X. Roars has actually decided to.
I'm just going to end the stream here so that I have one video for one game.